some general halachot that concern a fish, or the fish, all the kinds of fish which are kosher. Firstly, as you know, there's no shchita process that concerns fish. In other words, if shchita is a matir, it makes it possible to eat the behemah and the chaya and the oaf, the different kinds of animals and fowl that we eat. They need shchita. In other words, before shchita, you can't eat them. Or if you eat them, you're really eating treif. And shchita makes it possible, slaughtering the animals in a proper way, makes it possible to eat the animal. For fish, there is no such limitation. There is no shchita. There's no shchita for fish. Which means that if you take a fish and you whack it over the head, and then you do whatever you do to a fish and eat the result, that's okay. You can eat fish without any kind of a matir. And this is a pasuk in the Torah, Bamidbar, Perek Yud Aleph, Pasuk Kaf Bet. There the Torah says, Atzona bakar yishachet lahem, the big animals, they need shchita, matzah lahem. And called the gei hayam, yeyasef lahem umatzah lahem. But the gei hayam don't have any kind of need for shchita. Similarly, there's no prohibition of the type of Avim and Achai, right? In an animal, you can't just pull the leg off of an animal while it's alive and eat it. But with fish, this prohibition doesn't exist. So certainly you can't eat an animal while it's still alive, right? Even if you don't pull off a limb. But you can't just walk over to a cow and take a biss out of the cow and smile away. With a fish, in theory, you could do that. But there is a kind of an issur, a prohibition of doing things that are disgusting, and this is somehow in the category of Baal Tishaketsu. It's also probably true that you don't need a masoret. In other words, there's always this problem about the kosher animals that are mentioned in the Torah and the ones that only have the proper simanim. Right? The Torah says that a kosher animal, like a big animal, chews its cud and has a split hoof. And then it goes on to list the names of animals in that category. What if there's an animal that also seems to be in that category, but because it has those simanim, but its name does not appear in the list in the Torah? So generally, this causes a problem. It should be that the simanim are sufficient, but sometimes we say the simanim might not be enough. And it would be good if we had a tradition, a masoret, for eating these big animals. And you remember, probably you know, that turkey was always problematic for some people. Because turkey appeared in Europe at a late date, and it wasn't clear, even though there was no particular reason to think that the turkey would be prohibited. Nevertheless, those people only ate food that had a masoret, that traditionally were eaten by the Jews, who were kind of suspicious about the turkey. But when it comes to fish, to the best of my knowledge, we don't need a tradition. Somebody comes up with a new fish that no one's ever seen before, and it has snapir v'kaskes, it has the simanim. The fact that Jews have not eaten it for the last 1,000 years doesn't really play a role. So we see that fish, shchita is not necessary for fish. The issur of Avim and Achai does not exist for fish, even though we probably would not eat fish, live fish. because of the general prohibition of Bal Tishaketzu, and we remember that you don't need a tradition for eating fish, as long as the simanim, the snapir and kaskeset, or the extra simanim that Chachamim had established are there. Generally, I don't know if you are involved in this pastime of fishing, but for those of you who fish, it's important to clarify exactly what fish it is that you are fishing. But for those of you who buy fish in the store, in the market, or in the fish store, then it is certainly sufficient to trust the kashrut that is given to the particular package or the particular fish that you're going to eat.